As the video name might suggest, today is a day to upgrade to Unraid 7. There's a lot that goes into upgrading to Unraid 7, so we're going to talk a little bit about that. We are going to walk through some of the things that you should always do before you upgrade an operating system, especially on a server, like your media server, your file backup server, the place where you store your life, basically. So yeah, we're going to talk a little bit about that and why you might want to upgrade to Unraid 7. And that's actually a really good place to start, right? If you're running Unraid and you want to upgrade, you should know why. For me, there's a handful of features that I think are cool, useful, interesting, but also I just want to keep up to date with the Linux kernel. I want to keep security patches up to date, that kind of stuff, which is only going to come through these major updates like this. So with that all being said, I came to the Unraid website, went to their blog, their Unraid 7 post. They also have a releases tab somewhere that I believe you can just go click on and see the release notes for. But this is what we're looking at. Key features and enhancements. That's why you're doing this, right? Native ZFS support. ZFS is a great file system. It really doesn't affect me though, because I just don't need it. Don't really plan to use it. VM Manager, I'm not really running virtual machines on my Unraid server. I've done it in the past. It's just not really what I want to use my Unraid server for. So it's kind of to the wayside for me. I think the coolest thing is the iGPU support for Intel. Really, really useful if you're running like Plex or Jellyfin or MB, something like that, in a VM instead of a container for whatever reason. Or say you're passing through the GPU, I don't know, for like a gaming machine. Not that the iGPU is going to be great for that, but you know, maybe you're playing retro games on a virtual machine and you need some graphics acceleration. That's good use for that. New file manager. This is what I'm looking forward to. New file manager, better GUI. The GUI is the graphical user interface, and just having a built-in file manager is going to be crazy. Up to now, every bit of file management I've done in Unraid has been via the command line, which I don't mind. I'm a Linux terminal kind of guy, but not everybody is. So this is going to be great. Also, graphical interfaces are just way more convenient for people, myself included. Even though I like terminal, I'm used to terminal, sometimes drag and drop or double click to rename or whatever, you know, it's just better. Search is a good feature for the settings, especially. This GUI search feature allows you to search up any setting you want. You know, so if it's buried, if you're looking for like, when do the drives automatically spin down? I don't know, is that in VM settings, disk settings, regular settings, whatever? It's in disk settings. But you can just search drive spin down delay, or spin down, or probably spin, you know. Very, very useful. Unlimited width is cool. I have an ultra wide, so if I were to expand this window the whole width, you know, that would be that'd be pretty nice for me. I'm not sure how it'll work though, so I'm kind of curious. I don't use Tailscale, so I can't really speak too much about its integration. They have a bunch of Tailscale integration here. The other thing that's useful, especially for ZFS, is this Overlay 2 support. Samba share enhancements. They don't say a whole lot. I'm hoping that it's just kind of better in general. There's been some bugginess with it in my past, so I'm hoping it's just better. Dashboard updates. I'm always excited by dashboards, quick to view graphs and statistics, information about how the server's running and all that kind of stuff. So hopefully they've prettied that up nicely and made it more useful than it has been in the past. Power modes is actually one of the features that I'm most curious about, because I'm trying to reduce my energy cost really just by reducing my usage. Not actually going to reduce the cost of each kilowatt hour, but reducing the amount of usage, especially this machine when it's idle, taking up like 110 watts. It's just more than it needs to. Power modes, maybe the opting for power efficiency power mode will be, you know, my new favorite thing about Unraid. I don't know. We'll see. That's it. They have some more full release note thread here. There it is. So tons and tons of stuff in here. we'll jump over and get into some Unraid stuff now. So the first thing we're going to do in here is actually shut off my array, because as you can see, I have a bad disk. One of my parodies has just been acting up lately, so we're gonna spin down the array, and of course, wait through all that, and then we're gonna jump in and switch out the drives that are bad for a drive that is good. Luckily, I have 2 parodies, so that's good, but also I have a warm spare, which the concept of a warm spare is just that I have an extra hard drive that's plugged in but not being used by the system. So all I need to do is spin down the array, switch those drives out, and start the array back up. And then what we'll see once the array starts back up is the disks go green, and we'll see the drive in question is now in a parity sync or a parity rebuild. So now that we're in a healthy state, all my drives are clean and fixed. Everything's looking good. The array actually took 13 hours just about to finish that. That was yesterday, as you could see. Finished yesterday. I just, 13 hours. I'm not going to do this in one sitting. But once you're in Unraid, you can see I'm on 6.12. It says update available here. You can also go over here. Unraid update available. Before I do this, management access, I like to come down here, make sure my flash backup is up to date. In the event that anything gets messed up, it's just best to make sure your flash backup's up to date. Another very important thing to do is have a backup of your server, and my backup was running on a disk that was on the same controller card as the rest of the array. Even though it wasn't in the array, it's still the same point of failure, being that controller card. And you should follow a 3-2-1 practice, where you have 3 copies of your data on 2 different media, one's offsite. Well, the 2 different media was kind of being halted by the fact that I had them on the same controller card. So what you're seeing me do here is move those backups off to an external hard drive that's at least on a different controller in the system, which helps. It's not as good as having a separate system, right? Ideally, I would have a completely separate device that's hosting these backups on the network. But this is still better than having it on the same controller card that it was before. And so I'll just wait for all this to copy before I move on to the upgrade. And then the last thing I really like making sure is all my drives end up exactly where they belong. So what I'm actually going to do is screenshot this page. And actually in this case, since I'm recording the whole thing, I'll just jump back to this point in the recording. Look at this when I reboot on the new version, just to make sure everything's in the right spot before the array spins up. So we will start looking. The update version includes significant updates to all these things. Thanks for all these people. Yes, we appreciate all the support from all these people. There's some known issues sections, very useful to browse through. This is all ZFS, which isn't me. They have an option to roll back. This is kind of huge, not something that's always there. And then all the list of versions. We're going to continue. Please confirm the details below. Okay, confirm and start update. You know what I should do in the background? Shut everything down on the server. I probably should have done that first, but better now than never. It's a good habit to get into, to just shut down, especially databases. Postgres and MariaDB, they corrupt sometimes if they're not shut down properly. So I'd highly recommend I just have a second tab open. I'm going in. I can actually put this tab here. I'm just going through here and shutting down all my Docker composes. Alright, so we saw there a bunch of stuff fly by, and The pop-ups in the corner mentioned some issues installing or updating certain plugins, I believe. At this point, we're good to click OK. The Unraid server plugin is done. That's the only thing it does. Sorry, it installs that and then it does this plugin check. That's all it's going to do. So now it says reboot required for the update. The plugins not being able to download. Probably most of them require upgrading to Unraid 7 before you can install. Update incompatible. That's generally how that works. So at this point, you're going to stop the array, and this is just a me thing. I don't believe you have to do this, but I probably should have stopped it before since I was going to stop it anyways, but now that the array is stopped, I'm just going to reboot the server. You can do from the top, you can do from over here, you can do from down here. Reboot will activate a system restore, not restore, reset. Current version reboot now. All right, now we just wait for the reboot to finish. After a long enough wait, we get this page. Now, I'm gonna enter my credentials, so we'll be back in just a second. All right, and here we are. And so now what I said before is I was gonna jump into the previous video. Found the right spot, so now I'm just gonna visually check that all the drive numbers match up. The letters are less important. Right, so this first one is now H. So this is the same drive as was G on my old setup. These two are the only two NVMEs. They're in the correct order. I don't think that matters as much. Flash is still the same. These drives are all the same. So that's all good. We are on Unraid 7, so that's good. I'm gonna come over to the plugins page, because as you surely remember, I had all these plugins. We're gonna check for updates and everything. Just force another check. Okay. It will refresh the page one more time. Now we are just gonna update all plugins. All right, once that's done, let's see, we're all up to date. Looks like everything is good. I don't actually want to start the array yet because it's going to boot straight in and all my Dockers are going to start up, and that's not quite what I want to do right now. I want to first, I actually probably want to go to BIOS first, although it's nice to go look at this dashboard and all the pretty things that they added. So we're going to check that out. A bunch of stuff. See, this is what I'm talking about. 160 watts. It's a little bit crazy for, there's more than just the server on this UPS. So to be fair, it's not all the server, but still a good bit for the server. I like this now. This is a much better view, I would say. Power mode, here it is. Balanced operation, best performance, best power efficiency. I want to switch to best power efficiency and see what changes. I'm not sure much will change up front, but over the long run, maybe it will. Well, thank you guys for hanging out with me today as I go through this update on my Unraid server. It's nothing really groundbreaking, I'll say. It's nothing new that probably any of you haven't seen before, but you know, this is how I'm going to do this. This is how I'm going to run this channel, is just walking through some of the stuff I do as a sysadmin, as a developer, as an engineer, and how I think about things, how I work through things like this. So I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I hope to see you back soon. I know it's a relatively short video, so hopefully that's a little more encouraging for you who don't like the long videos. And yeah, I'll see you next time.